Hello, friends, and happy Friday. It's good to see you all. Welcome, welcome. Looks like we've got, the furnace is on. Sorry about that. I should have turned it off because the wife isn't home, but we will live with it. Hope your Friday's off to a great start. Your weekend's off to a great start. Mine sure is, and mostly because I'm here with you guys. So I have the Matches Memorial Friday Savinelli, as is the tradition, and it is, of course, filled with Haunted Bookshop. And let's see who we've got assembled here so far. There's Tim Fournier. Tim, thank you for trusting me and putting me in the you. Philip, John Amadon, Pondering with Pepe's Pipes. How's it going, Pepe? There's Mushroom Leg cracking open another Zima. We hope you survived this one, buddy. David Arledge, Alex Saunders, Lord Hogarth, Chris Weber checking in from Iowa. Good to see you. Sleepy Piper Todd from Kansas. I love it when you guys let me know where you're from. That's really helpful. Piper on the 45. Good evening to you. Michael Case, 70 and sunny in Western Oregon. Good deal, Michael. We're in the 70s, but it ain't sunny. Signal Man Tony from Rhode Island. Good to see you, Tony. Rich B1, Stanley Smith, and I think I'm caught up. Sorry if I missed anybody. So, it's Friday, thank goodness. I got to get a new tripod because this thing, I have to look at me the whole time I'm doing this. Well, you have to look at me the whole time I'm doing this too, so I guess it bothers you too. Glad to hear it's going good, Pepe. Got a new job, fantastic. Oh, kept you from being here, Val. I'm glad you're back, buddy. Glad you're back, good to see you. And Tim Fournier's got the Circle of Death. Hopefully no one else has that, because that's never a good sign. There's my buddy Doug Owen. How you doing tonight, Doug? We're fighting furnace noise early tonight, but it shouldn't be on too much because it's relatively warm. If it starts to be a problem, I shall take a quick pause and turn it off because the wife's not home, and I can do that. I am indeed smoking Haunted Bookshop tonight, Pepe. Stream has been a little glitchy, says Mushroom Leg. Everything seems fine here, so I hope we're not heading down that road again. There's the Urban Hermit. How you doing, Everett? Brother is doing really well, thank you for asking. He is actually apparently going to be leaving the hospital on Monday, which is downright miraculous. So thanks for all the prayers and well wishes. They helped. He's still got a long road to go. He's going to need another major surgery to remove the mass on his colon. He's going to need he's probably going to need radiation first, and he's probably going to need chemotherapy, but we still don't know what the mass is. So he just had so much going on that they just had to get him stable. But he survived being in full septic shock, and is just doing fantastic. So thanks for everything. Thanks for all the prayers and the well wishes, and thank you for asking, Everett. How's your dad doing, by the way? Hope all is well there. There's my buddy Big Dave. Good evening, sir. Tim needs to get me some I Hate Roger Goodell. Well, Tim, I would say yes, but I've got so darn much tobacco here. It's an embarrassment, and I would just have to put it into the tobacco of the month rotation. But thank you for thinking of me. Thank you, Taciturn Richard. Yes, I'm really glad about that. Great news. There's Poem. Hubba Bubba to you, sir. Glen Hill, don't know if I caught you earlier, but good to see you. Critics View. Yes, thank you much. It is great news. And we just found out about that yesterday. So he's all happy. He shaved today. He's got this thing where he grows a beard over the winter and then he shaves when baseball season starts. He's been doing that for years, and he had this nasogastric tube up his nose, which he absolutely hated. And they finally took it out a couple days ago. And I think he was just but anyway, because of that, he didn't shave his mustache, so he looked ridiculous. He had like this '70s mustache going on, and so he finally shaved that off today, much to everybody's uh, enjoyment. Couch, how you doing, buddy? Where the heck is XJ? Have not seen him in quite a long time. Oh, Doug, glad I could help you making the sale there, buddy. All the famous pipe smokers. Oh, Flint Hill, it's important. It's important. My brother's 53, and if he would have gotten the first one at 50 when he was supposed to, maybe this wouldn't have been so bad. But who knows? Who knows? It might have also started when he was 51. There's no way to know. But it's good to check. And these days, they're not what they used to be. They just knock you out, and you wake up, it's done. So really nothing to worry about. Michael Case, the Saint is in Pittsburgh. Her dad came home. That's another piece of good news. Her dad is home from the nursing home, although that wasn't exactly expected, and there's some conflicting information as to whether they told him to go home or he checked himself out, and the sisters are not happy about that, or as their one friend refers to them, the coven. Uh, oh boy, I hope my wife's not watching. She got into a fight with the two of them, and there was this big blow up while she was in Pittsburgh a couple years back, and her friend called me because something happened, and the friend said, that they're just a coven, the three of them. I never told my wife that, so hopefully she's not watching. Ron Hardcrackers, hello there. Yes, Tim, no more porn stash indeed. And he looked really ridiculous with it. Paragon Piper, how you doing, buddy? The Blade Runner has arrived. Uh-oh. Did I ignore you, Everett? I didn't mean to ignore you. What did I do? How did I ignore you? I'm very confused. Your weird sisters. That's right, Michael. Let's get them a big cauldron. They're so funny, anytime the two of them are together, they're fine. But when you get three of them together, it's just like uh, you know, gasoline and fire. Oh, Mushroom Leg, I don't think there'd be enough money in a GoFundMe to get me to do that. Yeah, it's a great movie, Paragon. Lord Hogarth catches up on his sleep during his colonoscopies. Yeah, you do. It's a weird thing because I've had, over the past no years, with the health issues I've had, I had quite a few surgeries and scans and colonoscopies and everything else. And I got to admit, there's something enjoyable about just being put out like that. I don't know. I've never had a lot of trouble falling asleep. I mean, I've had bouts of insomnia, but for the most part, I can just go to sleep. But there's just something about them just turning that switch, and then you wake up and it's like nothing happened. It's like you just closed your eyes for a minute. Oh, he's still got an infection in his leg, Everett. Okay. Well, I hope all goes well there, and we'll continue prayers for your dad. Pepe, that is a point of constant debate between my wife and I. Um, I would do it tomorrow, but she's saying no, and She worries about healthcare and stuff. The finances are fine, but she doesn't understand that, and she's just expecting the worst. And a butt camera. Well, mushroom leg, if you're going to call it that, you're not going to look forward to it, are you? Thing, Everett. Flint Hill's got some Seattle evening and a nice sandblasted Estate 7 Ellie. Sounds good. Even though the doctor yesterday recommended you not do, well, that's what doctors do. The Smooth Piper, how you doing, Peter? Happy Friday to you, sir. Doug Owen asks if anyone's seen the Edward G. Robinson movie, The Night Has a Thousand Eyes. I don't know, Doug. It sounds really familiar to me, but I might just be thinking of the song. Stanley Smith's got 7 Whitehall pipes from your aunt. That's fantastic. I'd love to do that, Pepe. Soon. Soon. It's a matter of years, though. I'll tell you, I am getting a bit antsy because I found out just in the past, let's see, on Wednesday and then on Thursday, I found out that 2 people that joined the company after me are retiring. One I just happened to bump into on the way home yesterday as I was walking out of the building, and she said hi, and she said, by the way, I'm retiring. And oh wow, I just wasn't expecting that from her. You know, it was a shock, but good for her. And the other one, this is a guy that I actually helped when he first joined the company. I helped him like get his equipment and stuff. He's really good. He actually left. He rose up pretty quickly. He left, joined another company that was a relatively small one. It was recently purchased by a big company. He made a bunch of money on that, and he's now moved his entire family to Florida and has retired. So good for him. But it makes me wonder why I'm still doing it. But it's not like I'm digging ditches or anything, you know. Nothing negative about digging ditches. It's just hard to do. It's a good point, Big Dave. It is an amazing technology. Ahmed Salomon, good to see you. You're never late. Can't be late. And speaking of butt cameras, Couch just ordered a butt load of cobblestone hiking. Well, we have a way of viewing that now, Couch. You know, John Amadon, I used to think that way as well, but I think I can keep busy without the stress of the job I have these days. Patrick Grant, good evening, sir. Good to see you. That's the thing, Michael. If you love your job, it's not work. It's absolutely true. And I do love my job. I just don't love some of the things that go along with it these days. Pepe wants to start making videos and review. Any advice? Just do it, Pepe. Just sit down, turn on the camera, and talk. Have a way to start and a way to end, and whatever comes in the middle will come in the middle. Don't worry about anything else because we just like to watch folks and enjoy a pipe with them. Pipe time, 13 days, 20. Congratulations, sir. That is fantastic. I wish you all the best. Yeah, Tim, a lot of folks are in that position. I would guess most folks are in that position of tolerating their job. You know, I appreciate that I got lucky to to wind up in a job that I really do enjoy. But I would guess, well, I think I told the story a couple weeks ago where I was talking to this postdoc. And she said, "How was I?" And I just sort of, in an exasperated way, said, I just had to do a bunch of stuff I didn't want to do today. And she looked at me and in all seriousness said, "Well, isn't that what work is?" And I don't think she was trying to be funny. She was just confused by my response. Yeah, mushroom leg, I think that's true. The folks that tend to overthink it and try to do big productions and stuff, yeah, that's great and it's entertaining if you can sustain it. But trying to think about that at the very beginning is just really hard. So just get started. That'll come later if you want to do it. Oh, Big Dave can walk to his colonoscopies. That is convenient. But do they let you do that? I mean, I'm not allowed to get one unless I have somebody to drive me home. Of course, I have like an hour drive to get home. I've got a hospital that's almost close enough to walk to, but we don't like that hospital, so we drive an hour. WKR Piper in Cincinnati. Great to see you, Odie. Yes, 3 months to Columbus. I'm starting to pack. Everett, I heard there's some pipes trying to get together a petition to get you to stop. Oh, that's fantastic, Pepe. Folks love those kind of videos. If you want to make videos of it, but it's a great hobby. Bill Rivera, how you doing, buddy? Lunch Money Phillips looking for a good woman who smokes pipes or doesn't mind him smoking. They're hard to find, Philip, but they're out there. Peterson's Pipe School? Peterson Pipe School? I'm not familiar with that, Pepe. You must be thinking of somebody else. I don't think I know what that is. Peterson Pipe? It's online? I don't know. I'm not familiar with it. Oh, really, Couch? Oh, that's unfortunate, but you gotta do what you gotta do. What part of Ohio are your parents in, Couch? If you don't mind me asking. Or you can tell me later. Nurse offered to walk you home, huh, Big Dave? Everett is a smokescreen. Sorry, things are moving quickly here. Mushroom Leg, you got your fiance starting on Savinelli's. That's good news. Wilmington Piper, cheers to you, sir. Couch will be in Toledo. And I asked that question as if I have any concept of the geography of Ohio. I'll look at a map later. Not true, Michael. My wife has never smoked anything, and she doesn't mind me smoking. Speaking of cheers, I have a lovely beverage this evening. I am I am not a rye connoisseur, so you'll laugh at me probably, but this is bullet rye. It's good, smooth. I like it. John Fay, good to see you, sir. Yeah. Alec, my wife used to say she liked the smell when I first met her, and then she stopped saying that. So I don't know if that's changed or if she's just used to it now. But hey, a birthday Sabanelli is a fine thing, Rich. It's a decent rye, so I did okay. All right, that's good to hear. I do tend to like rye whiskey, and again, I'm just not a connoisseur. My buddy Eric is he would laugh at me. He's really into that. Uh, but whenever I ask him about rye whiskey, it's like a $300 bottle or something. But I was really surprised at the liquor store that there seemed to be like, $14 bottles, which I knew probably I shouldn't go for. Plus the labels looked like they were printed on somebody's printer. Um, and then there was like there was actually one that was like 300 and something, and it was on sale. There wasn't a lot in kind of a mid-range, reasonable range for me. I don't understand. Maybe it's just because I drink too much, but I don't understand spending like $300 on a bottle of liquor because it just seems like very little return to me. Well, that's nice, Flinthill. At least she's tolerant of it, and she's willing to help you in your chilly times. Wilmington Piper's drinking. Oh, scrolling too fast. Drinking Bardstown Bourbon Discovery Series 11. Sounds interesting. That's true, Phil. I tell her all the time, I'll do something stupid and she'll look at me and I'll say, hey, you married me. Aquaman selling vodka and tequila now, Pepe? Why not? Oh, Tim, that's an easy one to get in my head. I'm gonna have that going for a while now. Corey Smith, how you doing, Corey? How long have I been making cane rods? Do you actually mean fly rods? I haven't been making them for quite a while. Uh, it's I started making them. God, time is so weird these days. It was more than 10 years ago, and I made them for a couple of years. And right around the time I started my YouTube channel, which has got to be 7 or 8 years ago now, I stopped, and I haven't made one since. So, did I check out Bamboo and Blades? I believe I did, Phil. Yes, I believe I did. That was an Instagram account, correct? If so, I did. If it was a YouTube thing, I have to do it still. Yeah, Flint Hill, I'll go to that range, like 50 or $60, but that's going to be something special. I'm not gonna just pour like this kind of a shot of it. Yeah, it was an easy one, Tim. I know. Yeah, Corey, it works every time. She just kind of shrugs and says, "Yeah, I guess I did," and walks away. Oh, and I look at that, Tim. You got Doug doing it too. Cypress Piper, on a bookshop at a cob. Very nice. Yes, Michael, I will definitely be getting out a cane rod this spring and summer. I was supposed to be fishing last weekend. I had planned to go Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I had a cabin booked and everything. And then when my brother got sick, I canceled it because I didn't know what was going to be happening. And I have to admit, there's two reasons I was really happy. One was it poured. It rained the whole weekend, and it would have been miserable. The other was that I'm not sure what the weather was like in central PA. I'm assuming it was raining, but it was the weekend where we saw the Northern Lights, and we had cloud cover here the whole time. My wife has this lifelong dream of seeing the Northern Lights, and she was so upset that the one chance she got to really see them, it was cloudy. And I was just imagining, if I'm out in central PA, and if it was a clear night and I was seeing it and taking these pictures and stuff, she would have been so mad at me. So I dodged a bullet there. That would indeed be a hot rod, Peppy. Odie, I know you're more of an aficionado. Yeah. And if that's your thing, I get it. I'm not trying to say that it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't seem like something I would do. Well, there you go, Phil. I guess different people have different expectations. Michael, I'm gonna do that. I am gonna take her to Iceland someday because it's like this lifelong dream of hers, and I'm gonna make that happen. I just need to figure out when to do it. Like, what is the right season for it and stuff. And I'm not gonna do it um, tomorrow, but it's something we're gonna do when I retire. Yes, couch, I can indeed. You saw nothing, Flint Hill? Yeah. Oh, Pepe, I'd love that. I'm sure she'd be down with me visiting you in Montana, but she'd want to come along. She doesn't fish, but she just would want to be there for the trip. That's the one big difference between my wife and I. She will go anywhere. She loves traveling. I don't like traveling. Oh, Alec, well, it's good to do that once in a while, and I'm proud of you for being able to do it. Oh, couch, you got a deal. Never been salmon fishing. Northern India and South American Andes. That would be interesting, though. Corey Smith's asking, what's a bourbon I like that's not too expensive like wild turkey? I don't have one to be honest, Corey. Uh, a bourbon I really like is made by a Pennsylvania uh, distillery called Stolen Wolf. I really like their bourbon and their rye, uh, but I think they're a bit pricey. They're probably in the like $60 a bottle range. Uh, Now I like Irish whiskey. That's what I drink most of the time in the brown liquor department. And for those, Tullamore Dew, Jameson, I think all of those are reasonably priced and taste really good. But I'm not the guy to ask about bourbons and ryes. Oh gosh, Beowulf and Miss Kathy. I don't think I saw you come in earlier. Good to see you. Kathy had follow-up tests with her cardiologist. Called back. Want to see her sooner. Oh my goodness. I hope everything is all right there with Miss Kathy. We'll certainly be keeping her in our prayers, Steve and Kathy. I have finished my haunted bookshop, and I'm going to move on to enjoying the tobacco of the month tonight. Excuse me one moment. I've placed behind me. Um, I've been I haven't been smoking this every day, but probably every other day. This is the LJ Peretti Cuban mixture, which you guys picked a couple weeks ago. Um, it's good. I do like it, and I'm enjoying it again because I've had it in the past and liked it. But I gotta say, it's really not an everyday smoke for me. It's a little too bright for me. I like the deeper sort of burly notes that I get out of something like Haunted Bookshop. And this has just got a little bit too much of those high notes. It's not bitey, but it's just not as not what I'm used to, I guess. Let me get this open. By the way, that's a recent acquisition. Isn't that beautiful? It's a Miller Falls right angle screwdriver. For all those times when I have to take out flat straight head screws, which is almost never, but I've been wanting one of these forever, so I'm a happy man. And it's fantastic at opening up Peretti tins. So. And I'm going to be loading the Cuban mixture into my Sassini 4-dot. See, Couch? I told you. Sassini 4-dot, courtesy of my buddy Doug Owen. One of my favorite pipes. And my buddy Couch has been buying up every 4-dot available. So if you're looking for one and you can't find them, it's his fault. Bad Company Piper UK. Good evening to you, sir. Good to see you. And the other great thing about the Miller Hall screwdriver is you can it's a hefty enough screwdriver to use as a little hammer. Um, by the way, these tins, this is from I bought this in November of 2020, and I opened it right away. So that's almost 4 years, 3.5 years, and it's like the day I bought it. It is, yeah, I keep it in the plastic bag, obviously. So there's a plastic bag inside that. I fold the bag over, I reseal the tin, and it's keeping the stuff beautifully. So nothing wrong with those tins. Tim, I know it's not Sunday, but I'm not going to be able to. I'm going to be out and about on Sunday, and I didn't want to take this pipe with me, so I thought, what the heck? I haven't smoked it in a while, and I knew it would make Couch happy. Yeah, it can be pricey, Michael. Although I think they sell 2 ounce pouches. Or 2 ounces at a time. I think. I don't remember what the minimum is for Peretti. All right, Everett. You have a great weekend too. It was great seeing you tonight, buddy. Take care. And yeah, Phil, those they do rust. I mean, I've got a tin up on the shelf. You can't see it in the shot right now. Of what the heck am I trying to think of? Sugar barrel. And unfortunately, whoever got it originally took it out. I don't know if it was in a bag, to be honest, because it's an old tin. But uh, the stuff is unsmokable because it just tastes like rust. Might be, Michael. Over 100 WKR pepper. My goodness. I can't imagine the tobacco seller then. No, Tim, it was just rust. Piper on the 45s loading some Margate in his Kamoy Rover pot. Fantastic. So Bear Wolf and Miss Kathy, when does Miss Kathy go for her next doctor visit? I'm assuming it's not going to be until next week, but we'll be sure to be thinking of her on that day. So Zenith, I've been using parafilm to seal mine, although I'm uh, I'm starting to rethink that, and I might be able to show you why. Oh, this one actually looks pretty good. I've noticed with the newer stuff, the newer parafilm. I didn't see this with the old box that I had, but I'm using a newer one now. After you wrap it, after a couple of months, it starts to crack. So it makes a really nice seal initially. So what I'm going to start doing is putting a double layer on and see if that helps. But yeah, I might have to rethink that. David Arledge, Couch's Couch. Couch, pop up and let David Arledge know who you are. Pipe Time's got some F&T special brown flake and a Tekken double mirror. Oh, Dublin mirror. I was going to ask, what's a double mirror? Yeah. 2 weeks. Oh, that's an awfully long time to wait. But hey, I guess that's actually good that they're okay to wait that long, right? I mean, if they said get in here in 5 hours, then you'd be worried. Of course, you'd already know because five, you know what I mean. Yes, and David, welcome. I'm sorry I should have said that when you said you were new, but thank you, Smooth Piper, for welcoming David. Captain Tape is a good choice, Poem. Good suggestion. I also know some folks use a silver tape. I'm not sure what that is. It might be actual duct tape, not duct tape, but the tape that's used on ducks, which is called something else, but I don't know. Alex Saunders having vintage velvet. Nice. Yes, those Freeburg and Trier plugs are really nice, Doug. I have a tin. I think I've got a tin of the special brown. It's in the bin up on the shelf that will someday be one of the choices for tobacco of the month. Tim heard that Dave's not here. Okay, Hal. Exactly, Beowulf and Miss Kathy. Yeah. Goose tape is what you use on ducks. Okay, thank you, Tim. Michael Muirhead, good to see you, buddy. Smoking some Mississippi River in a country squire charlatan on my fourth Bell's Oberon. Something didn't quite make sense there. Mississippi River in a country squire. Well, I'm glad. I hope you're enjoying it, Mike. Ah, David's in Palm Beach. Hey, even the western poor side is probably nicer this time of year than the weather I'm enjoying. I'm sure it is great with coffee pipe cup. Yeah, Flint Hill. I don't know what's happened. I don't know if they made it thinner or something, and I don't have any of the old stuff to really test. But I've just noticed it in the past couple of months that stuff I've wrapped up maybe 3 months ago when I got the new roll is just cracking. I didn't know Dunhill farmed out the McConnells. That's interesting. That's interesting, Doug. Oh, it's a Sheraton. Okay, okay, Mike. I probably should have been able to figure that out. I'm sorry. Yeah, Tim, that is a good way to get an FBI file on you. I was listening to, when I was driving up to Vermont, I was listening to a podcast that had absolutely nothing to do with serial killers. But in it, they started talking about a serial killer case that was really creepy. Apparently, this guy had a job where he was traveling all around the country. And every time he went to a new place that he thought he might come back to, he went and bought that kind of stuff. Duct tape, a tarp, all the stuff he would need, and one of those 5-gallon buckets. And he'd fill it up and then he'd bury it. And then, he'd come back maybe a couple years later or something, and he'd have his murder bucket all ready to go. And he couldn't be traced because there'd be no record, no recent record of him buying the stuff. So that was just incredibly creepy to think that somebody would be willing to plan that far in advance. Cosmoline. Yeah, I don't think you want to do that, Flint Hill. But paraffin wax, that people do. I've seen people actually drip wax around it. Good point, Michael. I don't think there's any non-creepy serial killer stories. So maybe I should have said that this is an exceptionally creepy one. But yes, it's not a topic that tends to be anything but creepy for sure. Oh, that is interesting history, Doug. So the Peterson stuff is more similar to the original formula. Well, that's nice. Gary Edminster, you're not late. You can't be late. You're always just in time here. Murder Bucket sounds like a new tobacco blend. Well, Tim, as soon as you finish Red Pill Flake, you get to work on that one. He was a trucker, Paul? Well, that makes it even worse. Just smoking a bowl of Murder Bucket. Yeah, I don't think we want to. We're probably getting flagged. Hey, by the way, we often get flagged here for, not letting children watch the show, which is fine. They shouldn't be watching it anyway. And I do have it. It's not for children, but occasionally YouTube does uh, let me know that they're limiting it. I don't know what it is that we do on those nights, but occasionally we just go a little too far off the rails. Murder Bucket might get us in that direction. But my Sunday chat last week actually got flagged because for it gave a warning about climate control, or not climate control, climate change, and directed people to the UN website on climate change. So I was kind of proud of that. I don't think I actually was talking about that, but you know, YouTube, you never fail to surprise me. 'Oh, that sounds awful, Doug. Manila infusion. Yeah, you don't want that. 96 degrees with 80% humidity. Well, David Arledge, maybe that's not so nice. I mean, you got 100% humidity with the rain, but at least it's cool. Ish. I know, Ahmed. You folks in Canada really have it rough there. Murder by Rustica. Michael, I don't think it's the comments. I think it's if I read them out, and that's why sometimes I'm careful not to say certain words and stuff, although I've said murder like 15 times now, so that's probably going to get me in trouble. Uh, but no, I don't think it's actually the comments themselves. But I don't know. See, Big Dave, that's a question I can't answer. Well, I can answer without reading the question, and the answer is no. Yeah, I am sort of proud of it, Paragon Pipe. But the reason I bring it up is, you guys now have to step up because if you want to think of yourself in competition, the Friday night live streaming competition with the Sunday chat's one up you at this point. We got youth restricted, but we never got a warning label. Yeah, Paragon Piper. I'm not going to read that pipe tobacco name, but I like it. Deep topics in pig Latin. Yeah, that would make my viewership soar, Phil. So that's a good way to think about it, Lord Hogarth. It is a lot like that. It's Tim. You should come with a warning label, buddy. Werewolf Miss Kathy got dinged for a sneeze. Oh, that's hilarious. I love it sometimes people get copyright restrictions for like music that's in the background in the other room. I had a nasty gram from YouTube recently where I've got this old, really old video. It's got to be at least 4 or 5 years old now, where I did a PSA, a public service announcement. It was one of these times when there was a lot of nonsense going on where people were sort of trolling people in the comments and stuff. And I just made this video showing people how to block someone on their channel who was commenting inappropriately. And as a joke, I don't remember exactly how I did it, but I either waited until the end or during the whole video I had the music to "Happy Days Are Here Again" playing. Um, the whole thing was a joke, and the idea was I even made a fake YouTube account to put the comment in, and the comment was something about you're a jerk, you don't know what you're doing, blah blah blah. But I have to go now because my mom just said the macaroni and cheese is ready, or something like that. Um, anyway, because now I got the "Happy Days Are Here Again" music from YouTube's free music library that they allow you to use and that you have the rights to use and everything. But somebody said that they have the copyright to that song, and YouTube reacts to that just by saying, "That's it. This video is restricted. They have the." They don't even bother to look in their own records to see that they apparently own the copyright to this, or for some reason they think that I'm allowed to use it. So it doesn't matter to me. This is like a 4 or 5 year old video that nobody ever watched anyway, and I don't know why it's a big deal. So all it means is that if anybody watches it and it makes money for YouTube, that money goes to Bob, the guy that bought the rights to the song. But it's just really annoying that they send you these, things like you did something wrong. Bill was born with a Prop 65 label. Well, they put them on everything in California these days. Break glass and event of stupidity. I think I need one of those, Tim. Anyone who bought the Rustica in tins this year have Rust as creator. I haven't bought it. Alec is reading The Wager by David Gran and says it's fantastic. Don't know David Gran, but glad you're enjoying that. Permanent sleeping fish. Oh yeah, Phil, Instagram's horrible with that. If you can even buy lead fishing weights, Flint Hill. Paul wants to know if you had to compare Marlin Flake to another similar tobacco, which would you compare it to? I haven't had Marlin Flake in a long time, Poem, so I'm not going to answer that. But that's right, Doug. It's part of the ambiance. I mean, you're right. What would Rustica be without rust? I'm familiar with Killers of the Flower Moon. Well, not. I know it was a movie. I didn't see it, but at least I've heard of that one, Alec. Yeah, but Phil, it's annoying and all that, but the problem is it's not worth fighting for, right? I mean, what's the point of going to war over yakety sax? But at the same time, that idiot that's claiming it is making money off of it. And maybe it's not very much from your video or my video, but if they're doing that across all of YouTube, that's probably somewhat lucrative. And I don't even know if YouTube's bothering to check if they own the rights to it. That's the thing. Do you have to prove you own the rights to something like that before YouTube will just start passing you the ad revenue? So the Smooth Piper, Peter, is that Rustica you're referring to, or Marlin Flake that you got to crack open soon? And Doug says Marlin Flake is Virginian Perique, but a lot of Perique. You got to love the Perique. I remember it being dark. I think I had that back when I hadn't yet learned to appreciate Virginias, so I probably smoked it quickly and didn't enjoy it, but that was just because I was stupid. Is the current velvet tobacco the same as the vintage variety? Big Dave, I don't know. I don't smoke velvet because I don't like it, but I remember back when our buddy, the Artful Codger, was doing velvet. He had smoked some really old stuff. He had smoked new stuff. I mean, it was his tobacco, and he said that it was remarkably consistent. That he couldn't tell a difference between the like 40-year-old stuff and the brand new stuff. Well, Phil, that's awfully convenient, isn't it? Good deal though. If it smells like trout, get the heck out. Okay, Tim. Piper said, loading up his Friday Savinelli with Haunted Bookshop and a side of ginger ale. Very nice. Ah, so you've only had the vintage stuff, Alec. And you're enjoying that, so that's good. Yeah, I know, Michael. I have to send them ladies like 12 cents every year. I'm kidding. I got a funny story to tell you about Happy Birthday. Oh, the Marlin Flake. Okay, Peter. Well, crack it open. Let us know what you think. Oh, talking about a tin of tobacco. Gotcha. Yeah, definitely. That would be good advice then, Tim. Oh, Phil. I think you're right, Beowulf and Miss Kathy. It's all computers. It's the algorithm. So I had this weird interaction at work. This is the story I wanted to tell. This was on Thursday. The building I work in is under, well, they decided in their brilliance to put an addition on the building while people were still working in the building. So this has been going on for about 3, maybe 4 years now. And it's just a constant problem because they're constantly turning the heat off, turning the air conditioning off, turning the lights off, making noise, jackhammering. We're a research lab, so we can't have vibrations and stuff. I mean, it's just been a nightmare for 3 or 4 years now. It was supposed to be done in December, but now it's looking like it's going to stretch out for at least another year. Anyway, the reason I'm telling you this is there's a lot of people in my building that I see once and never see again. They're just guys that they hire in as contractors to do a job and whatnot. And some in the men's room. Our men's room has 2 urinals, so you don't get to do the thing you're supposed to do, which is leave a space between you and the next guy. And guy comes in after me, and so I'm not the world's most social person. I don't do small talk, and I don't talk to anybody in the men's room. I just don't do that. Uh, Fortunately, he was quiet at the urinal because that always really bothers me. So I go over to wash my hands, and I'm washing my hands. He comes over, and now there are 4 sinks. He didn't have to take the one right next to me, but he did. And there's a big mirror there, and you can't help but you're washing your hands, guys, there. And we make eye contact in the mirror, and he's got the big construction worker warning vest on and the hard hat and everything. He's one of the construction folks. Never seen him before. I will probably never see him again. And we're both washing our hands. We make eye contact, and he says, "Hey, how you doing?" And I said, "Oh, good. How are you?" Just being friendly. It's all fine. That's where the conversation is supposed to end in my world. You don't say anything after that. You just nod and you leave and you have a nice day. But no, he decides that he's going to continue the conversation. And he says the following: "Great, I turned 60 years old today." And I don't know, I just wouldn't tell a stranger in the men's room that it was my birthday. Maybe I'm weird, but that's just not something I would do. And I don't know how to react to this because I'm socially awkward. And I'm still standing there with the water running over my hands, looking in the mirror at this guy. And all I can think of is, and I swear to God, this is my thought. This is how strange I am. All I can think is, does he want me to sing? And I somehow blurted out, "Well, congratulations." And he dried his hands off and said thank you, and I think he said something like, "Oh, I never thought I would see 60, ha ha," and he left, and I'll never see the guy again. Uh, and it was, from his point of view, it was a perfectly normal thing to do. From my point of view, being socially awkward and all that, it was just very uncomfortable. And for the rest of the day, I laughed at the fact that my first thought was, does he want me to sing Happy Birthday, of course. A mudlarking video. That must have been interesting, Pepe. Excuse me. Oh, that whole clay pipe in the Thames is fascinating, Pepe. There's so many of them there. Oh, yes, Phil. I loved that joke. I loved that joke. Good John Wayne story about not shaking someone's hand in the restroom? I don't know that one. Do you know the John Wayne Michael Caine story in the restroom? That one always makes me laugh. Lord Hogarth, I don't even want to think about that. So the John Wayne Michael Caine story, Michael Caine told this story. He was at some Hollywood party. It might have been like a, oh, is that the joke? It's not about shaking hands though, Philip. I'll tell the story. So Michael Caine says he's at this Hollywood party or something or the other, and he goes to urinal and uh, very similar story actually. Now that I think of it, and he's standing there at the urinal, and somebody walks up next to him, and he looks up at and it's John Wayne. And John Wayne looks over at him and says, "Hey, you're Michael Caine, aren't you?" And he says, "Yes," because this was very early in Caine's career. And he says, "Well, let me tell you something, boy. I'll give you some advice. Never buy suede shoes." And so I was really confused. So I said, "Why not?" And he said, "Well, because some." Oh, that is cool, Pepe. Yeah, you rivers are interesting things, and the stuff that people throw into them and everything. It's really kind of cool what you can find. All right, Beowulf and Miss Kathy. You take care. We'll be keeping Miss Kathy in our prayers, and hope we get to see you soon. Good luck with your long day tomorrow, and get some rest, guys. I buffered on the punchline. YouTube didn't like it, huh? Story. Well, to make it really simple, John Wayne tells Michael Caine to never. They're at the urinal, and he recognizes him, and he's a uh, young actor. John Wayne was impressed by him, and he says, "I'll give you some advice. Never wear suede shoes." And when Michael Caine says, "Why is that?" He says, "Because someday you're going to be at a urinal just like this." It's buffering again. What is going on? Dang YouTube. Let me try something. I don't really think it's me, but I just I disconnected Chromecast, which is the only thing down here that's actually using any Wi-Fi, uh, except for the Google thing behind me. But I don't think that checks in very often. Anyway, we'll give it a minute, and I'll retell the story. Let's try it again. So Michael Caine's at the urinal. John Wayne comes up next to him. Michael Caine realizes this John Wayne. John Wayne looks over at him and says, "Hey, you're Michael Caine." He says, "Yes." He says, well, I'm going to give you some advice. You're going to be a big star, and you should never wear suede shoes. And Michael Caine says, why shouldn't I wear suede shoes? And John Wayne replies, because someday you're going to be at a urinal just like we are, and some guy's going to come in and recognize you, and he's going to say, hey, you're Michael Caine, and he's going to turn to shake your hand, and your shoes are going to get ruined. So hopefully that got through that time. It probably wasn't worth the second retelling. I didn't do a better job with it this time, that's for sure. Michael Caine is much funnier when he tells a story. Oh, good. Creator laughed, so it must have gotten through that time. Yeah, Doug. Apparently, the pub landlords would just gather up all the broken clay pipes and in a box and just toss them out, toss them in the river, or toss them out in the field or whatever. And you can dig up clay pipes like crazy in England these days. That I'm pretty certain Phil Rivera sent me that one. Uh, Phil keeps me in stitches most days. I don't know how you find those things, Phil, but Lost in the 50s says that reminded me of Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke. I don't know if any of you guys have the channel Ovation. My wife watches that. Whenever she's not watching the Hallmark Channel, she's watching Ovation. And she watches it because that's what Midsummer Mysteries is on. So that's on a lot in the evening. And they have this commercial, which is Cheech of Cheech and Chong promoting his museum. He's got a museum in California, I assume Los Angeles, called The Cheech. And it's a museum, it seems to be like Hispanic urban art. That may not be appropriate. I don't know anything about art, and I don't know anything about that style of art. It's a very annoying commercial. I don't like the music behind it. I just don't like anything about it. And it just annoys the heck out of me. And they play it like 40 times a night. I think some of these cable channels only have 4 commercials, and 3 of them are for life insurance, or if the season's right, for supplemental Medicare insurance. And the remaining one is for the Cheech Museum. Oh, they've got them for that stupid Lumi deodorant too. That one is constant. Anyway, this commercial drives me nuts. And I was complaining about the other night, and I said, if it wasn't for him being in those stupid Cheech and Chong movies, and I'm sorry, I never found Cheech and Chong to be funny. I just did not understand the humor in it, even when I was in high school. I just didn't know why people were laughing at it. It was just 2 really stupid guys doing really stupid stuff. And I don't know. I usually find, like, I thought Beavis and Butthead was hilarious, but something about Cheech and Chong I just didn't appreciate. But if it wasn't for that stupid character, I wouldn't have to watch the darn Cheech commercials. Yeah. Okay, now I'm just ranting at the sky here. Tim wants to know who's the most famous ADT employee of all time. Tim, I don't know what ADT is. Is that the security company? AI uses Phil for ideas. Yeah. The Chuck Norris of AI. You tried to put the punchline in the chat and it's deleting it, Doug? That's bizarre. Couch has moved on to his 4 dot. There you go. Piper said that's sacrilege. There are a few things funnier than the Three Stooges. Remember that commercial that as soon as you heard it, you ran to change the channel? Yeah, there have been quite a few of those, Phil. Fourth time's a charm. There you go, Doug. So who's the most famous ADT security company employee? It's Dennis Rader, the BTK killer. Okay. Are we doing serial killer trivia now, Tim? That would be a very strange live stream. Well, I have finished the Cuban mixture. And I don't have a lot of whiskey left, but we still have about 15 minutes to go. So I'm probably gonna do some more Haunted Bookshop. I'm in a good mood. All this talk of Cheech and serial killers has put me in a good mood. Cheech, urinals, and serial. You know, I don't know if anybody read the description for the video. I put those things together just to be funny. And I was thinking of last week's live stream and how we were joking about it going off the rails. Isabel's barking. I never know where these things are going, and this one has gone to a place I never would have. Oh, the Cars for Kids commercial is horrible, Michael. Oh, and that's a bad commercial. Yes. Yeah, I never would have thought we'd be talking about serial killers and Cheech and whatever it was we were talking about earlier. Sally Struthers was hot. Keep an eye out for the Wheat Thins commercial. I never found Sally Struthers to be all that attractive. Sally Fields, I could see that, Phil, but Sally Struthers, I don't know. That might have been it, creator, and I was never really into that, so maybe that's why I didn't get it. What if you were you hanging up on this wall? If it were you on this wall, you wouldn't be laughing at all. Poem, I do not remember that lyric from. Really, Peter? I don't know. Nah, maybe just not my type. The one-eyed skinny bird. Oh, you're thinking of Sandy Duncan, Phil. Skinny version of Twiggy. That just sunk in. Oh yes, those commercials, Tim, are like the oh, what's her name? What's her name? She was in Charlie's Angels. She was a child actress. What the heck's her name? Drew Barrymore doing the bingo commercial. Is that the kind you're talking about, Tim? Those are horrible. Watch Sally Struthers in The Getaway with Steve McQueen. I'll give it a shot, creator, but I just don't think she's my type. I don't know. And we've now moved to the objectification of women portion of the live stream. I'm saying that for YouTube's benefit. I mean, they're going to ding us anyway. Tippi Hedren was something, yep. Yeah, Doug, there's a joke in there about Family Feud, but I don't want to go down that road. So since we're speaking of the ladies, did anybody notice the quote that I used at the front of this video and get what that was from? Oh, Phil, you mentioned that you used to see Miss Kitty at the coffee shop. Yeah. And Pepe, you're the second person to bring up Marianne. I think Gary was the first. And yes, Marianne was definitely the winner in that one. I'm certain of it. Well, Phil, the good thing is we're never going to forget the Cars for Kid phone number. Reminds me of when we first moved back to Pennsylvania from Georgia. My wife had this Nissan that was just, oh, it was a terrible car. Um, I mean, it was a great car because it would not die. And it's what we moved to Georgia. The only car we had was this Nissan. It didn't have air conditioning. So I bought a new Ford Ranger with air conditioning, and she immediately took it from me and made me drive her car. So I really got to sort of become fond of this piece of junk. It didn't have carpeting in it because her father spilled a container of gasoline inside of it and took all the carpeting out. So I actually there was a bank that was getting recarpeted, and I saw them putting these rolls of carpeting out, and I pulled up in the car and I said, "Hey, do you mind if I take those?" And the guy said, "Why would you want that?" And I opened the door and pointed to the floor of the car, and he looked in and he said, "You want me to help you load it?" Anyway, we brought this car up here and we went to get it inspected, and they said the frame's cracked. I said, "Okay, that's it. We need to get rid of the car. You know, not worth trading in or anything." So my wife said, "Let's donate it." And I said, "Okay." And she said, "All right, great. I have this phone number. We're going to donate it for that you can donate your cars to the blind." And I couldn't help myself. I said, "Well, what? I don't think that's such a good idea." I got in trouble for that. Interesting life indeed, Phil. I've never thought that. You're an honest guy. So the reason I bring up the title card, which apparently nobody read, which is fine, I don't expect you to, is it's a quote from a B-52's song. That's one of my guilty pleasures. I've got pretty eclectic taste in music, and I've always liked the B-52s. I mean, ever since I was a young lad, um, I just like the energy in the music. It's good party music. And if you know the B-52s, there were originally five of them. And two of the founding members were a brother and sister. It was Cindy Wilson and her brother Ricky. And The song that I was referencing there is one called I think the name of it is "Give Me Back My Man," which Cindy Wilson sings, and there's a video of her singing this on YouTube. You got to find the right one though, because she it's an early video. She's young in this video. She's probably in her 20s, and there's a remastered version of it which is horrible. So you got to find the original version of it. But if you can watch this video and not fall in love with this woman, there's something wrong with you. There's just something about the emotion that she puts into it, and she's an attractive woman. And I was thinking about this. For some reason this came up. There was like a documentary or something. I watched a documentary on her, but I forget why it came up earlier in the week. And I was going to say I've been in love with her for 40 years now. That's obviously not true, but I've found her to be a very attractive woman for 40 years now. And even today, I mean, she clearly is not what she used to be. She's aged, but she's aged very gracefully. Very attractive woman. So I saw this interview with her, and these are rock and roll people. They were very famous. Her brother actually died very tragically from AIDS right at the beginning of the AIDS epidemic, um, and you just have this perception of what people like that are going to be like, in terms of their personal lives and stuff. And I just assumed that she was like a typical uh, rock star. And in this interview, I discovered that she married a guy who was helping them out in the early days of the band. Before they made their first album, before they were in any way unknown, they were just like doing local performances and stuff. She met him when they were planning to do a party, a Valentine's Day party. That was the first time they performed together. That's when she met her husband, and she married him, and she's still married to the same guy. And I thought, that is one of the most pleasantly surprising things I've heard in a long time. That a relationship like that could last in that sort of environment, and in this day and age still continue to last. The other great example of that is Dolly Parton, who, completely different type of music, but she's been married to the same guy forever. And in both cases, they're very private. They take a back seat. They let their wives do what they do, and they do what they do, and it works. So, yeah. Anyway, just wanted to tell that story because I was very amazed by that. Flint Hill Briar, she is the only one that doesn't go that way of the group. Of the five of them, she's the only straight one. The Road to Nowhere, yes. Talking Heads. Good album too. Tanya Tucker. Oh my goodness, Phil. Yeah, they met. It was. I didn't remember it was a laundromat, but it was something really casual like that, Michael. So it was a laundromat. That's just amazing. Oh, Phil, that's a terrible joke, but true. Cary Green from the Goonies. Okay, Lost in the 50s. Wow. Up with the Rock Hudson in a wheelchair. Not sure what that means, Tim. Oh my, we're getting very close to the end here. ELO in the shop. Wow. That brings back some memories. One of the nice things about the YouTube premium thing that I'm paying for now, and I'm not promoting it. I just can't stand the commercials, but you get YouTube Music with it, and I do have the Google um, in my car and in the house and stuff, so I can just ask it to play music, and it kind of pays attention to, like, I can ask for a specific song, and it will pay attention to that, and like the next time I ask it to play music, it'll play similar things, and over the course of time, it's actually become really good at picking out things that I wouldn't have asked for, but I haven't heard in a really long time. And when Phil mentioned ELO, I thought about that because I would never think to ask for ELO, but yet it might play that, and it's just kind of nice to be able to hear that kind of music again. Uh, because these days I don't even bother to put on the radio. I mean, if I'm down here working, I just ask for either the Sirius XM Symphony Hall or Jazz or the 40s station, 40s Junction, I think it's called. And that's what I almost always listen to. But having this option when I'm in the right mood for more rock type music, of just saying play music and it'll play that kind of stuff is kind of nice. And I do get to revisit some of those things that I wouldn't have. That's a slightly dated joke, Tim. Hey, Doug, don't go saying that about Raymond Burr. I've had this argument with a friend of mine. I like Perry Mason, and I've always viewed Raymond Burr as like the the character of Perry Mason, in my opinion, is like the man's man. He was self-confident. He was always right. He didn't. He would stand up for what was right. He would stand up for himself. Um, and I admire that character, portrayed by Raymond Burr. Um, I did not know until very recently that Raymond Burr might have not necessarily been attracted to women, although he was married a couple times. And a friend of mine told me this, and I had a huge argument with him over it because I just couldn't believe it was true. And the argument ended with me saying, and I'm going to try to quote this as much as possible, just because a man decides in his later years to buy a private island and move to it with his best friend, who's a guy, and they live together and grow grapes and make wine and cook gourmet meals, doesn't mean he's gay. The friend just rolled his eyes and walked away. Yeah, sometimes you just don't want to accept such things. Yes, Columbo just pestered people into confession. Oh, Doug. Okay. You guys, your humor is going to a very dark place right now. The orange jumpsuit's good too, Tim. Yes. Well, on this very dark and strange note, I think we're going to start to tie this up. I don't mind getting the not for kids thing, but I'm afraid we're moving into strike territory. States. Oh, Alec, that's an oldie but a goodie. Are you serious, Phil? Are you? That's unbelievable. The grandfather Liberace shirt. My goodness. Yeah, I am going overtime here, Patrick. I'm going to tie it up now. So sorry about that. We're just having too much fun. You know, Flint Hill, it's possible. It's possible, you know. All right. Well, you might say the same about B-52s, and you know, I confess to that. So anyway, I will finish this up and we will draw this to a close. So thank you for joining me tonight. It's been a great deal of fun. I really, really had a good time tonight, and I hope we're not offending anybody out there because we're all just having a good time. And you know what? If YouTube doesn't like it, let them strike. We'll see what happens. So with that, folks, I will wish you all a great weekend, and I'll be back on Sunday with something or the other. We'll see what happens over the course of the weekend, and I'll update you on that. So with that, take care. Thanks for joining me, and we will almost certainly be back next week. I'm still keeping it tentative just until my brother's home and I know exactly what's going on. But I'd say there's like 95% chance that I'm going to be here next Friday, so I will see you then. So take care, friends. Thanks again, and we'll talk soon.